All right. Well, welcome everybody, and congratulations to you all for your acceptance to Hawaii Preparatory Academy. My name is Tiari Police. I am the Director of Admission here at HPA. And it is my pleasure to have you here to join us for an informational and session where you're going to learn about our school even deeper. You're going to meet some people, see some faces of your future classmates. And we've also brought in some amazing panelists today. It is made up of our head of school, our faculty, students, of course, and alumni and parents. So we have people from all over the world here. If you would like to, in the chat, feel free to put your name and where you're from, and we will be sure to welcome you that way. And then also, if you have questions, which I'm sure will come up, feel free to be sure to put them in the chat, and we will get to them as we go along, as well as at the end of the session. We will have lots of time for questions and answers. So we'll have everybody muted, of course, if possible, throughout the event. Unless you have something to say, you can raise your hand or just jump in. But we have a great session for you to learn more and discover what makes HPA such a special place. That video you saw really highlights our island, which we have just an amazing location for those of you who haven't had a chance to come to Hawaii yet. And I know we couldn't tour all of you because of the pandemic, but we hope that you've been able to visit our website and our social media and really have a good sense of Hawaii and HPA and all that we have to offer. So we'll get into a lot more later, but for now I'm going to introduce our head of school, Patrick Phillips. Mr. Phillips?
Aloha, everyone. My name is Patrick Phillips, and I'm the head of school here at HPA. Mahalo for joining us today for our Discover HPA event. My hope is that over the next hour, you'll begin to feel the incredible spirit and excitement that exists on our campus every day. Now, we've got a great lineup for you. We've got students and teachers, alumni and parents all here to give you their perspective on life at HPA. So I invite you to listen, to ask questions, and to start to imagine yourself arriving on campus to begin the fall semester next year. I know I speak for everyone else on this call when I say we're looking forward to meeting you in person soon. But for now, I'll turn it back to our admissions team, and they can kick things off with our featured panelists.
All right, thank you, Mr. Phillips. I would love to introduce my associate, Director of Admission, Janet Melton, who many of you have worked with throughout the process getting to our great school. And I'll turn it over to Janet, who's going to help moderate our panel.
Thank you so much, Tiari. Thank you as well, Mr. Phillips. It's a pleasure to see so many of you, so many friendly faces. I've worked with so many families here on this call, and it's just an honor to welcome you today and to say congratulations on your acceptance to HPA. I'm a parent here at the school as well. I've had 2 children who graduated from HPA, so I have a lot of parent experience, and of course I've been at the school for several years as well in the admission department. So it's a great joy to have you. Thank you all again for coming. First, we'd like to start things off with Mr. Fred Warner. He is our Assistant Head of School for Student Life. He's also a parent here at HPA, and he's also an amazing basketball coach. So now I'd like to introduce you to Fred. Take it away, Fred.
Hey everyone, welcome. Really excited to get to share a little glimpse into our school, especially from a student life perspective. So I know we've got a few slides to run through, and then hopefully we'll be able to hear from our panelists who have lived the HPA experience. So welcome aboard, and if you have questions or things you want to ask, please put them in the chat and we'll get to them. Okay, this is my 12th year at HPA, and my 26th year at in residential life. And again, my name is Fred Warner, and my title is the Assistant Head of School. So what does the Assistant Head of School for Student Life do? My primary responsibilities are in the residential program, working with the health services and counseling, our athletics program, as well as all of our activities and outdoor program, and our citizenship and honor systems. So really, my role is to support the people that then make all the magic happen at HPA. This photo here was taken a long time ago. I don't act like that normally. All right, what grounds us at HPA is our mission, which the 3 key components are providing exceptional learning opportunities in a diverse community and honoring the traditions of Hawaii. So we're going to talk a little bit about each of those sections, and I want to focus on the exceptional learning opportunities. And you just saw what Hawaii looks like. So you can see yourself in some of those slides or videos. Our core values are the lens that we want to look through, whether we're a student, faculty, administrators, and all the decisions or behaviors we make, we are accountable for. So integrity, respect, the pursuit of excellence, and wonder. And you'll see that binds us through all of our programs, which have intentional structures. Our upper school campus usually have around 400 students, and our makeup is typically 40% boarding and 60% day students who live here on the Big Island. We have about 60 upper school faculty, typically between 22 and 28 countries represented, which in itself is an exceptional learning opportunity when we're around so many people from different places. A little bit about our programs and our learning opportunities. So we have, as I'm sure our admissions directors have talked to you about a little bit, our small class sizes, our faculty from all over the world. We have Hawaiian language, Hawaiian history, and Hawaiian culture classes, and they're a big part of our curriculum, both in the classroom and outside in our activities. We have place-based learning, so you'll hear a lot about our project and capstone work that culminates in a capstone experience for 12th grade, but is touched on in 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. All the work that you do is based around core skills and traits. Activities. So what do we do when we're not in class? We are all over the place. Our outdoor program, we do campouts and hikes. We've had to really be innovative this year, and so we've really relied on our outdoor program a lot to get out to outdoors and safe spaces and beaches and the volcano and different hikes and trails. We do a lot of service and service projects on island. So I saw a familiar face. We have a Keolo Pond cleanup, which is one service project that combines traditions of Hawaii with our local community, which is absolutely amazing. Fun. There's things to do all over the island. We're definitely rural, so you've got to be comfortable being outside and going to beautiful beaches. But we have zip lining and movies, and we have a small town here that we are in and out of on Wednesdays and many weekends, shopping and going out to dinner. We have a ton of on-campus resources. And I will keep going. I also work in our, as Tiara mentioned, Janet, I coach basketball. We have an amazing varsity athletics program that is well respected in our state for all of the sports that you see listed here. The key to being a small school and having a productive athletic program is that it relies on you, students, to be a part of that. So you don't have to show up here with a huge amount of competency or skill in a sport. Our sports are mandatory and similar to a class. So we have developmental levels and we also have varsity levels. And there's usually something for everyone. We also have a co-curricular program if varsity sports aren't something that you want to dip your toe into. These are things that count similarly in our like academic credits. So our fall musical is always a big one. We have horse program and scuba. You can see the list, and those change by the season. So we have fall, winter, and spring. Our drama department's absolutely amazing, and so typically they're able to make magic happen with somewhere between 40 and 70 students at a time in those seasons. But there's usually something for everyone. You have to really look hard to find something that's not on that list. Student leadership is a structure that we really that we really value. We want student voice, and you'll see some panelists here. Our student ambassadors are in student council. We also have our residential program is led by our prefects, which is a system of supports for our boarding students. And we have a residential council. So when students want a specific activity or want us to pay attention to something that maybe is important to them, their voice is heard through the residential council or the student council. Student clubs. Again, similar to our sports, we need student participation. And so these are really run by and for our students. And so if there's not something on that list, we would charge you with creating something and sharing it with your peers. But typically, these are clubs listed that exist and have existed for quite a few years. Student support. We have a robust advisory program. And so each student has an academic advisor who meets with them this year 3 times a week, just to check in for things outside of, how things are going outside of academics, as well as with their classes. And there's a curriculum that we use to make sure we're all kind of on the same page with our advisory program. We have 2 full-time counselors that support our students both with um, curriculum, but also just one-on-one meetings, or they're there all day. We actually have a residential counselor who's able to see students really whenever they need. And our health service program, and as you can imagine, these are the hardest working people in showbiz right now, that we've been face to face with the boarding program since August, and they're absolutely amazing. And for our residential program, we actually have a nurse, a registered nurse that lives in each dormitory of we have 3 dormitories. So they do rounds. This year we're doing temp checks, and they really are a part of our community in a big way. We also have an infirmary that operates during the day for day students as well. Academic support. So we're lucky enough to have a learning specialist, Saratoga Collings. It starts with your students' advisors and teachers. We also have peer tutor and office hours built into our academic day. So those are kind of the starting points for students if they feel like they need extra support. And then we have things that we start to work with students and potentially wrap them with meetings or meeting schedule or a peer tutor or office hour mandated schedule. And then there's actually a scheduled class period in our learning center if our learning specialists and the particular family deem that to be the appropriate path. Res Life, we have some boarding students on the panel, so I'd love for them to answer any of your questions, but here's kind of our makeup. This year we have 154 boarding students in 3 dorms. You can see the list on the screen. I would say this is just this is near and dear to my heart. Our residential program it just thrives when you get students from all over the country and or all over the world, and provide them the structures and intentionality of our programming. So we have 3 dorms, or 3 residential halls: Carter Hall, Perry Fisk Hall, and Robertson Hall. And you can see the makeup of the dorms. And we have dorm heads that manage both the student structures and the adult structures for supervision. We have a director of residential life and the 3 dorm heads. And then we have dorm faculty who are on call 24 hours a day. And then we have the residential prefects, who are the student leaders who support the students and kind of the flow of the dorm, and dorm representatives who are charged with kind of being the eyes and ears of the dorm and representing their student needs. We have some sacred space each week, which is our dorm meeting time, which is where we have curriculum. Residential curriculum. So those are in different, we can be the whole residential community meeting or in dorms or in hall meetings. So we have different structures and very intentional in terms of what we're trying to message that week. This is the kind of building blocks of our residential curriculum: health and wellness, character ed, life skills, academic success, and then living together. This is a skill. How do we teach 14 to 19-year-olds the responsibility of living together and building healthy relationships with each other? As a sample of kind of a weekday schedule, so you can look through that. We have responsibilities that are shared, like dorm jobs, and everyone has a study hall 5 days a week, and then we have quiet hours in rooms and lights out. And sleep is an important piece of our residential curriculum. So we have to talk about that a lot and how to manage that. All right, we are a safe community. The Big Island is a very safe place to live. It's a very special place to live. Our town of Waimea is a very safe place. And then our HPA campus is very safe. So just to give you a sense, we have 24-hour security. We have the dorms are alarmed. We have very clear campus boundaries. And we have, as I mentioned, a 24-hour on-call dorm phone, both for students to use and for parents to use. We have had to be very innovative with COVID, and we take we start with CDC recommendations, and then we build out from there. What can be the safest way possible to deliver our program to our students and keep our faculty safe, keep our families safe, keep our students safe.
Thank you so much, Fred, for sharing so much about our philosophy and our programming here at HPA. As you all can see, there's really a lot, and there's a lot of information, obviously, that Mr. Warner shared. And we encourage you, to ask questions. If you'd like to ask a question in the chat, we'll get to those at some point. But what I'd like to do now is just have some conversations and really hear from our panelists. I know many of you on the call, students and parents, really want to know more about daily life at HPA, what it's like when you get here, as a new boarding student, as a new day student. So let's start by hearing from some of our current students. I'd like to introduce two of our current students who are freshmen this year, Max, who's from the East Coast, and Kylie, who's one of our international boarding students. Both of these guys are boarding students. They've added so much to our community this year. And so let's hear from them a little bit about, what it was like when you first arrived here on campus, coming from a different place and really, entering Hawaii and entering boarding life here at HPA. Max, let's hear from you first.
Hi, everyone. My name's Max. I'm a freshman, as Miss Melton told you. When I first came to Hawaii, it just blew me away. It was a completely different culture, but it's so welcoming and warm, and you really form a nice sense of family. These people here that I met and made friends with over the past 8 or 9 months that I've been here have made me they feel like my family almost. And I'm so happy. Miss Donahoe, who's on the call right now, she's a dorm parent in my dorm, and she's my second mother almost. And I really like being here. And even when I got off the plane, I took a breath and the air tastes different. It's so nice here, and I really enjoyed it, and I have been enjoying it for the time I've been here.
Thank you, Max. Okay, Kylie, let's hear a little bit from you. Maybe a little bit similar perspective, but obviously coming internationally. What was your experience like?
Oh my God, I can fully agree to everything Max said. It's so true. So basically the first day I got here, I could say is one of my most favorite days. I was super nervous. I was I'm leaving my family. I was like, that's crazy. And I didn't really know what to do or what to think. But then when I got on campus, I was like, whoa, all these people are away from home too. And we all need each other. And it's just such a community. And it's people are from all over. It's not oh, you stick to those people or to those people. It's everybody has a different experience, which makes it so great. Yeah, so coming here, I would totally come here again for the first time, to be honest.
I wish I could do that.
Right, we should totally.
Thank you guys. And that, really says a lot, coming to HPA, especially this year with the pandemic, and, being able to really form close bonds with fellow classmates is definitely a really big bonus. Josh, I'd like to introduce you. He's one of our senior boarding students. Has been at HPA for a couple of years, a great basketball player. Josh, can you comment a little bit about, what your experience has been like being in the boarding program for the last couple of years?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Josh. I'm from California, near LA, and this is my 4th year as a 7-day boarder. And I think one of the main things that I can tell everyone is that as I'm ready to go to college and go on to the next level, I feel like so prepared to become a college student because I've learned the skills that I've needed to be able to live in a community with like people from all over the world and be able to communicate with students from all over the world and be successful in my classes and also juggle like co-curriculars. And so it's a really unique environment that I've been able to have the opportunity to spend 4 years in. That's really been able to help me grow as a person. I mean, half the people on this Zoom call, like the teachers, like Ms. Donahoe has been teaching me Spanish for a few years. Mr. Warner's been my coach. Dr. J has been teaching me. I mean, Ms. Police did my interview. Like it's really incredible, like how much these people will change your lives. And just, it's incredible how much they're always there to support you. No matter what happens, they will be behind you 100% of the way to make sure that you're going to become the best person that you can here.
Thank you, Josh, so much. Let's hear from some day students. We have a couple on the call as well. You know, you've heard from our boarding students what it's like, you know, come to school and experience life here, but some of you on the call are accepted day students as well. And so you're gonna have similar sorts of questions, you know, how do you integrate into life? I'd like to call on two of our students. First, Isabella, who's a senior student this year. She's been at HPA, what we call as a lifer since kindergarten. So I'm sure she has a lot to share. Bella, what would you say about your day student experience at HPA, particularly when it comes to high school?
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Bella. I'm born and raised here in Waimea, so I know Hawaii very well, and being a day student is extremely fun. I think being a day student is such a different experience by being a boarder, but it's also just the same because you're still around all of these diverse people and you're allowed to integrate them into your classes and have these experiences in a learning environment that like you can only have because you're around other people that have experienced a lot of different things. So it's like I can be in my AP US history class and be with someone from Germany and someone from China, and they can give their like feedback and what they think and what they've experienced. And I think it's so valuable coming from such a small town in the middle of the ocean, and there's this big world that you're trying to go through and get your life through. And I think going to this school that allows you to work with people from around the world is such a unique situation, and it allows you to grow yourself as a global citizen. I feel super ready, like Josh said, to go to college next year with all the experiences. Even though I wasn't in the residential program, like I still feel like I was prepared in that way to work with people that I don't necessarily have the same background with. Yeah.
Thank you, Bella. Now I'd like to introduce Kali. So Kali has the wonderful advantage of having been an on-island boarding student and also a day student. Kali, is there anything that you'd like to add in terms of perspective and what you've experienced during your time here at HPA? And a rising senior, I want to add.
Yes, actually. I think because I get the privilege of being a 5-day boarder and being able to go home on the weekends, I think it's very important to, I don't know, bring friends home sometimes. There is the sign out, which I like to take advantage of. I want to show, you know, my friends from Spain or from Washington, Hawaii, and just explore. Just everybody is just so part of my life. Like Auntie Chrissy, for example, I go to all the time. She's our nurse who just lives right down there. Or we have Eva, who tutors me for math during study hall. I don't know. This is just such a family, and I'm so reliant on everybody, and they're always there for me. I don't know. I definitely would just say branch out and sign people out on the weekends.
Thank you, Kali. Something I did want to add is that, you know, we do have this amazing boarding program, but boarding students and day students, you know, we mix all together. We are one big family. There's lots of crossover. So we're always doing things together. And sometimes, you know, inevitable happens and boarding students become really close to day students, and day student families, including myself and Miss Police. We often will invite boarding students into our homes on the weekends. So that happens, you know, quite a lot here at HPA. We're very cohesive. We're one big family. So that's something to keep in mind. I want to ask our boarding students real quick to chime in maybe with a little bit about weekend activities. You're here on campus through the week. What are some really cool things that you guys have gotten to do on the weekends? Josh, you want to start and let us know what are some things you've been able to do?
Yeah, actually, I had the opportunity to actually stay here over break, for Christmas break. I wasn't able to go home, so even though it's not the weekend, it was pretty similar to the activities. There's always like support here, from just hanging out with your friends around the dorm, or we have a court that I spend a lot of time in, or there's open gym. There's like activities to always try to get you off campus, to try to get you around. There's always beach fans. There's always like stuff to do. No matter what, even if it's on campus, it's still getting out. You're still breathing like beautiful air. It's a beautiful campus. It's really big, so you can go for runs, and you can always like hang out with your friends too. So I mean, there's a lot of opportunities as well.
Yeah. Kylie, Max, anything you guys want to add about weekend activities?
For sure.
Oh yeah,
You-
weekend activities are great. I don't care.
Okay, I'll go. So about HPA, and this ties in with weekend activities, is that things I never thought I would do. I've gone on a helicopter, I've gone surfing, I've gone kayaking, I've gone horseback riding. It's so much fun. And weekend, it just like every weekend it gets better. I really like it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's like it's all those activities you want to do when you come on vacation here. And then like we just get to do them with our friends and with the school. It is so cool. It's like usually like you can sign up a bit early, sometimes like 2 weeks early, sometimes it's only a couple of days earlier. But when it's like 2 weeks early, you're like, oh my God, I'm so excited to go manta ray watching or like swimming with the dolphins or like things like that. It's just really like great to look forward to. Yeah, so I would fully take advantage of that because it's so great. It's so cool.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge the part that she just said at the end, how about taking advantage. There are some people that I know that don't take full advantage, but there's so much stuff you can do. Like there's never nothing to do is what I tell my friends when they say that they're bored. There's never nothing to do. Like even if you're on campus, like I'm in the garden right now. I've spent so many weekends just hanging out here. It's so much fun and it's so nice and I really enjoy it here.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. There's so much to do on the weekends here. We really want our students to be outdoors, to be engaged, to take advantage of where we are in the world and really just enjoy the beauty that's all around us. Now I kind of like to switch gears a little bit and hear from some of our parents on the panel. You kind of got to hear from the students about their experiences, but I'd also like to hear from our parents. Marcel, let's start with you. You're a new parent this year from Canada, and I know your son's had some ups and downs, but I'd like you to share a little bit about what it's been like for you on the other end as a parent.
Yeah, it's great. Great to see so many new faces and some ones that I've interacted with. And thanks everyone for being here. I wanted to just mention 3 quick things in terms of our experience. So our son left for boarding school at the age of 14, turned 15 shortly thereafter. And I would say it's the one thing to keep in mind. He had all the normal things that a young teenager would have. He was nervous, he was excited, he was anxious, he was organized, he was unorganized. And what I found incredibly comforting along the way is the communication between parents and the support, that's advisors, teachers, coaches, you name it. Once we figured that out, you realized how deep that support mechanism was and just how comfortable our son became in fairly short order. And just to reinforce the point on support, as a tangible example, and this one kind of shocks me as a personal experience. Our son Luca likes to wake up at 5:50 in the morning to go play basketball, to shoot some hoops, to just get ready for the day. He says it grounds him. So I promise you at home, he was not getting up at 5:50 in the morning to do much. So this is a new thing that happened within HPA. Now think of what happened. The first question that comes in my head is, who's waking up at 5:40 to open the gym door for him, to support him, to allow him to go in there and shoot hoops? I mean, there are people there who recognize that this is an important part of his daily routine. And lo and behold, there'll be some faculty who will show up and end up playing a little bit with him, or other students, day students and boarding students. So that's been just a quick anecdote on how he's found different sources of support. And on the growth side, just as a final observation, this one surprised me a little bit. So Luca made the push to go to boarding school. And we live in Toronto, so this is about as far away from home as he could have selected. And from the growth perspective, one thing I didn't anticipate, so I saw myself as, this is strong dad, son's going to go away, this will all be great. And I didn't realize how much day-to-day impact I was having on his growth patterns, be it from doing homework or preparing for sports or whatever it may be. And the distance in many ways has given him the space to grow more rapidly. So, and it's little things like even scheduling his homework and making sure he's getting that done, signing up for activities that he wants to do, doing laundry. I mean, this is all these little things that add up to quite a lot in terms of his day-to-day, just a big confidence boost in terms of what he can do. So I think the biggest takeaway I've had in this first year is just, as a parent, giving our son the space to grow, make mistakes. There are elements that I would do differently than he would for sure, but just giving him that space. And it's really been a terrific experience. I mean, I barely recognize him when we speak on the phone now, and I'm just so grateful for the HPA community and all the support that they've given us over the course of the year in a difficult pandemic year. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Marcel. It's so wonderful, to see Luca on campus and thriving and happy. And so that's the goal. So thank you for sharing that. Now I'd like for you all to meet a day student parent and also an alum of HPA, Lisa Rabinowitz, who is from Alaska. Lisa, would you care to share a little bit more about your parent experience? I know your daughter's getting ready to graduate this year, Parker, and we've just seen some amazing growth in her. And we'd love to hear more about your parent experience here.
Yeah, absolutely. I get excited to talk about HPA anytime I can. As Janet mentioned, I am an alumni, but it was a long time ago. So my parent hat is a little more recent, and I can't tell you enough about what a great experience this has been for our daughter, Parker. And as I'm looking around this Zoom, similar to what other people said, I see people on here that have mentored her and helped her grow. And these are teachers that they're not just their teachers, they're there to build a person interested in integrity and who they're going to be as an adult. So as an alumni, I didn't know what the school experience was going to be like for my daughter. And I can tell you it was exactly what we wanted. It was inspired learning. And as our seniors have said, Max and Kylie, take advantage of all the opportunities and branch out, do things that are out of your comfort zone. And I think that will make your experience that much more exciting and fulfilling. So I can't say enough about how great our experience has been. Academics, athletics, the community, everyone is just supportive, but allows that room for the children to grow and kind of become who they're going to be. Other things as a senior that I've really appreciated, and Bella, who's a senior, has also benefited from this. The college counseling has been amazing, helping both the students and the parents through that process. So that's been very helpful. The other thing, putting on a different hat, as a physician, watching how the school has navigated the pandemic, and as Fred Warner said, under CDC guidelines, making it safe for our children to go to in-person learning has been invaluable in this year. And so I applaud the school, and it really comes from that development of mutual respect across the whole community that both students and staff and teachers could all come together and make this work this year. So happy to answer questions anytime for people outside the Zoom, but I'm excited for all of you to have been admitted and let the journey begin.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for all those wonderful, kind words. We're so grateful and so grateful to have Parker here these past few years at HPA. Let's move forward and hear from another parent who's had the unique perspective of a day student and a boarding student perspective. Rems, we'd love to hear from you. You're an international parent who's actually living here on island this year. and you're also a past parent whose daughter has graduated. We'd love to hear more about what your parent experience has been here at HPA.
Thanks, Jenny. Hi, everyone. Really appreciate TJ and Jenny offering me this opportunity to share my experience. I'm from Shanghai in China, which is 5,000 miles away from Hawaii. Just as Jenny mentioned, we as a family live in Big Island since last year. So that makes sure that we are closer and closer to the HPA. So my elder daughter, Rachel, she graduated from the HPA at the 2019. And in her past 4 years at HPA, I do see her change. She become more and more independent, more and more mature, and learn to do the time management and pressure management. Just as Josh and Bella mentions that HPA offered all of the experience and give her all support to let her be really strong to prepare for the college. So she currently is studying at the Pittsburgh, and I truly believe she will become more and more strong because she owns all the valuable experience in the HPA. And my young daughter, Anne, she is the sophomore in HPA. She always asks me 2 questions before she joined HPA. One is, when I make friends at HPA, will they like me? So this is 2 more often questions Anne will ask me. But let me tell the truth. After 2 years, Anne become more and more happy. Every morning, can you believe that every morning she wake up earlier than me and always rush me to go to school earlier? That makes sure she can meet her friends much more time. So she definitely make a lot of friends in HPA, like Mexico, Korea, Japan, California, Big Island, Boston. So she is so happy. So that's make me really happy to make these right choices, and also and become more and more confidence. And she also can very briefly to show her experience. And I believe that she will be more and more strong in HPA. So back as an international student parent, I do believe HPA can provide your kids a diversity, strong academic, and also a safety compass. So hope can see you guys in August at HPA.
Thank you so much, Renz, for sharing about your perspective as a day parent and also as an international parent. Renz is always so kind to have dinner with Tiari and I whenever we travel to Shanghai. So it's like a very, very big extension of our family. So thank you as always, friends. Now I'd like to, thank you. Let's switch gears again and hear from our incredible faculty who are on this call. As you heard from so many of our students, we really interact, with the students in multiple ways. We're in classes with them, we coach them, we're in residential life, we're part of the dorm. And so there's all these varied ways that we really just, are part of this community with the students. And so, one of those is through our advisory program. And so I'd like Dr. Anton to talk a little bit about the advisory program and what it details here at HPA.
Thank you so much, Janet. My name is Johanna Anton. I'm a parent of a senior, and my guess from the periodic table in the background, I teach AP chemistry. I've taught chemistry at all levels at HPA, biology, and capstone. In addition to that, am also a class leader along with Mr. Flores for the current freshman class, the class of 2024, and have served as an advisor for I think this is my third year being a faculty here at HPA. I do want to say this. I was a parent at HPA before I became a faculty member at HPA, and seeing the impact that HPA had on my child caused me to career change from a career as a scientist in industry to become an educator. That's the sort of impact that watching what happened to like a student and being part of the student experience had on our family. In addition, I would say one of the highlights of my job is being able to interact with all of the other faculty. HPA is really academically rigorous at the same time as it provides all of the other opportunities you've heard people speak about. Our advisory program is structured so that students are paired with an academic advisor when they first come to HPA, and they stay in the same academic advisory group that's usually 6 to 10 students with the same faculty advisor throughout all 4 years of their high school experience. That's really awesome because the advisor gets to watch the student grow in all sorts of ways, and academically as well as in other ways too. The advisors work with the students to ensure that the students have a balanced course load, they're meeting all graduation requirements, and that they really get a good perspective overall on taking advantages that are offered at opportunity. Much of our education is place-based, and we really want students to be able to experience that while getting grounded, in core subjects like social studies, English, science.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anton. As a parent myself, advisory is huge. My kids always relied heavily on their advisors, and so that was a really important part of the experience here at HPA. Mr. Flores, I'd like to call on you, our amazing director of music here at HPA, who have some incredible courses you should all check out at some point. If you should go to our website and check out exactly what he offers. But I'd like Mr. Flores to talk a little bit about community here at HPA and what it means in terms of academics and just if you're a day student and boarding student, what that really means.
Hi, everyone. So as Ms. Melton said, I'm Mario Flores. I'm Director of Music. I'm actually in my second year here at HPA, but I've been teaching for 26 years. I absolutely love this school. Like I said, I've been teaching for a very long time, and actually Max is my advisee. So I'm sure he's heard me say this quite a lot. Community at HPA is probably one of its most important, I think, elements. I've been at schools on the East Coast. I've taught at schools on the West Coast, Midwest, maybe a little bit moved around a little bit too much. But I can say that of all the schools, HPA really values community and that personal connection between people, both between adults, but also between students and adults. It's something we value, how we respond to each other, how we communicate with each other, how we interact with each other. Those relationships at our school are probably the most important. And really, I mean that out of all schools that I've worked at, you could be a great kid, you can be super, super smart and super athletic and everything else. But if you're not connected in the community, if you're not digging in, if you're not here, you will find many of us, the adults coming to you and being like, hey, you need to join and do this and do that and do that. And part of that really is that we all hold each other accountable at this school, through the good and through the bad. COVID has been hard, but I will say that having face-to-face instruction, being able to teach my students music, especially in music, being able to actually have a band working, that has taken the community and the work of the community to get it to that place. So I really can't, all I can say is, if you want a place where you feel valued, a place that is really inclusive, both in the arts programs, academically, then this is a great school for you. If you kind of want to hide in the shadows, this is going to be a tough school for you. and I say that really with the best meaning that we really bring kids that want to, we love our students and we want our students to find themselves in the world and to be connected to the world and to be active in the world that they're in. So that's something that we push here at HPA.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Yeah, as he mentioned, whether you're soaring or whether you're struggling, you're a part of our community, you're a part of our ohana, and we're going to take you in, and we're going to support you in all the ways that we need to. And so that is a very big part here of our community.
And can I also just say also one thing, about the day student, boarding student. So I went to a boarding school, and I think one of the beautiful things that HPA does, opposite of what my school did, was that we really, whether you're a day student or boarding student, the campus is yours, and life here on campus is really yours at all times. For example, we allow our day students to come and really use our facilities. I have students in my music and activism class that are all writing original albums and original songs in our brand new recording studio. And they come in on the weekends, and they're in there working. So this concept of whether you're a day student or boarding student is we're all just really, I find us all to be boarding students. And by that, I mean, I find us to all be really ingrained members of our community.
Janet, can I add one thing about just community? I think Marcel touched on it a bit, and Mario as well. So the journey is not always like ziplining and awesome class meetings, right? Like there's some hard parts to the journey of a 14 to 19-year-old at a boarding school or a day school, right? High school is not always easy, and so what we want you to understand is the reality is that we have these structures in place that we're not going to leave you when you are lonely, when you get homesick, when the food just isn't as good as it is when your mom makes it, right? Like all those things are real. And so we're a place that is gonna we're gonna be with you during through that journey, and we've got supports here when you need them. And then there's going to be times where we're going to work on skills for you to be supports for others. But not to the admissions folks are going to kill me, but it's not. I'm just being real, right? Like it's hard sometimes, and that's kind of intentional. And there's some freedoms that allow you to fail at certain things in a very safe way. And I think that part is hard because we don't always think about those when we're going into this. But then when we leave it, those are the pieces that we have to go back to that get us through the next part of our journey. So the preparatory part of HPA is really something that is important to us, right? And so just, I feel like I had to say that. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Fred. No, we were all about keeping it real here. We want to be complete transparency, and no, there's going to be good parts and bad parts. So thank you for sharing that. Ms. Donahoe, Donahoe, I'd like to, for you to share some of your thoughts. You're one of our amazing faculty members who's been here at HPA for a few years now, and you certainly serve in multiple roles, and the students all love you. So I'd love you to share a little bit more about what exactly goes into, caring for our boarding students. There's the extra step that a lot of us take, and I know you certainly do that, but can you share a little bit more about just your experience in residential life?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So I am a mother of a junior, but I also have two children who graduated in 2006 and 2008. And they're doing very well. They were very well prepared to go to college and to do what they needed to do. I also married an alum. My husband graduated in 1987. And so we are really involved with everything. But as you already saw, the real stars of our show really are our kids. I mean, they're amazing. Josh, I get chicken skin just to, goosebumps just thinking about everything you've gone through and how much you've changed and who you've becoming. Marcel Luca has just grown so much, and it's so wonderful to see him. So it's just so beautiful to see Bella when she was a freshman and just coming up and doing all these things that she's doing now as a senior. I can't believe you guys are leaving. And I see Angie too, graduated 2013, right? So it's so incredible. They're really what are the best of us. They're what make us who we are. And it is so easy, right? It makes it easy. and we love you guys. Our job is really to love you. And to sometimes it's a little bit of a hard love, right, Max? Sometimes it's a little bit of reminding of that we need to keep our room clean, and that we need to brush your teeth, and that we need to, go to bed early at a certain time, or, because sleep is important for you guys. But that's our job, and it's, the best job in the world. I show up in the morning and I'm like, this is so cool, right? Like I do this every day. So I'm just fortunate in so many ways. And even when some afternoons, I'm like Thursday night, I'm going to the dorm, and not always do I feel like it. And once I get there, I'm like, oh, this is why we do this. This is so worth it. So I'm just like, we love your kids, and we remind them, I'm a mom, right? I am a dorm mom, and we're here to just love them. And we have your back, whether we're your advisor or not. Just know that as parents, if your kid happens to find a rapport with a certain teacher, give them a call. We're open to receive any phone calls, any emails, and say, hey, I know that my son is not doing so well right now. There are some issues going on. Please communicate with us. We're more than happy to always hear about you, and, to help you in any way that we can.
Thank you, Jaime. So beautifully articulating the love and care that we have for all of our students here at HPA. I'm mindful of time, but there is two more important pieces that I really wanted our panelists to share with you. One of those is our college counseling program with Mr. Andrew Kelsey. We're very successful, when it comes to college matriculation, and very intimate environment that we have with our juniors and senior students. But Andrew, if you would, could you share just some brief highlights of college counseling at HPA? Maybe we lost Mr. Kelsey. Are you there, Mr. Kelsey?
No, he's muted.
Oh, let's see.
Hold on. I'm good. Can you hear me?
We can. Very good. Yes.
I'm coming to you from my 8-year-old soccer practice in Waimea. Thank you guys, and congratulations to all the newly admitted students. You're about to take a journey that's going to be wonderful, as you can see. I came here 24 years ago, and I thought I would be here for a couple years. I'm from the East Coast, and I went to an East Coast boarding school. And I think what you've picked up today is HPA has this magical mix. It's impossible to really define, but I think it is that we have this global care for the whole world, and very international, and yet it's rooted in the Big Island and Hawaii and aloha and Hawaiian values, which I didn't experience in boarding school. I love my boarding school. I'm very proud of it. I always thought I'd end up there. But one of the things that I feel so great about is my son Dylan is a second grader at HPA, and I know that he is going to have the best experience, and I could never find a better school. And I've been here 24 years, so I know this place, and I'm so excited for Dylan. So, and one of the things about it, and you could see from the adults, everybody loves their job. So everybody loves what they do. So when your kids are with people who love what they do, you have done a great job as a parent or a guardian, because that's when real inspired learning takes place. So the advisory system kicks in for 9 and 10. Everybody's really close at HPA, so they get a lot of support and advising. And then in their junior year, they start working with college counseling. We have 4 people in our office. One handles all testing, one handles all of the kind of office duties, and then Cindy Montgomery and I work with individual students. Cindy is a fabulous college counselor. She's the nice counselor. So I'm joking, but she is wonderful, and she's probably helping someone right now. But you have 2 counselors. We're available to students throughout the day, every free period. Students call us evenings, weekends. It's fun to be on the journey with students. And as Janet said, the results every year, and this year is no exception, are excellent because our kids are amazing. And they're coming from Hawaii, where colleges are interested in applications from Hawaii. They're not as many as other states. And the directors of admissions know the schools in Hawaii very well. So they also know HPA very well and have students. You name any school, there's HPA students that are there or have been there, and almost all of them have done really well and left a positive impression. So those directors of admissions tend to keep Hawaii as a territory. And so relationships with the schools here have been built and maintained for years, which is an advantage to the students. But I think it's more what they do at HPA, whether it's being involved in service or all of the different elements of leadership. Everyone gets a chance and opportunity to lead and be a part of something. And then all of the faculty, as you can tell from today, they support the students and advocate for them and know them well and write strong recommendations, and they care. Everybody here cares that the students will go on to college and be happy and successful. So there's that support. And I know our time is short, so I'm talking really fast. I'm usually a slower talker, but I think that it is a transformational and nurturing school. It's a global school, but it's also very Hawaii based. So there's these things that are just so special. And I think I want to hear Angie talk, because she can tell you a little bit about what it's like when you think back on HPA as a graduate. It's like no other place. It's amazing. Thanks, Janet.
Thank you so much. That was great. I just wanted to add there real quick, in terms of college, had more time to share, but we are going to have some special student sessions next week, where a lot of our accepted students on this call, you'll be able to join some breakout sessions with some other students, and you'll get to hear more about like their college process and their experience with college counseling. So that's just something to keep in mind. So, because I know we are running short on time. But as Mr. Kelsey mentioned, it's a perfect segue to our last but not least guest, Angie Schumoff, who is our wonderful alumna from the class of 2013, and who also has a sister on the call who's a current student this year, Kali. Angie, can you share a little bit more about just your overall experience at HPA and kind of what maybe you see just in terms of your sister and her time as well?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm so honored to be here. Kind of what everyone has been saying, HPA is truly the most magical place. Being now far from my high school years, now in a work environment, I'm still so close with all my HPA friends, whether that was people from my classes, my go-to friends from theater or from just my after-school hangouts. I mean, we are obsessed with HPA. I had some of my college friends actually come to Hawaii about a year ago, and we like all stopped on campus. They've never been to HPA before and like bought sweatshirts. I mean, people know just how special and how important this school is, no matter what age you're at. You always look back with just like the best memories. And it really is for life. Like, I talk to everyone still from my class, from years above me, years below me, about college advice, about job advice. I mean, it really is with you everywhere you go through life. So yeah, and seeing now my sister, who's going to be a senior, and just how unique her experience is, where HPA really does let you as an individual find your passions, find your own support system, and just seeing how she gets to experience it. I'm so jealous, because I would just love to, be back in Robertson dorm again and see Auntie Tiari all the time and just bum on her couch and eat her food. So it's just really the most amazing experience. And as everyone has said, like, you go to college and you're so used to being independent, you're so used to being around this close-knit, tight-knit community with such diverse students and diverse faculty. So it really does set you apart. And, it's no one that I know from my life post HPA talks about their high school so highly. It really is just so special. And I would just say, like, I remember being in high school and just thinking about the year ahead and, okay, now I wanted to go to college. And it's so great because HPA really does prepare you for, your next steps, but truly just take it in. I mean, it goes by so fast. And, it'll never go away, right? Like, it'll always be with you every step, but it really is just like the most amazing 4 years or 2 years, wherever you're coming into your HPA experience. So
get excited. I'm so jealous. I would love to be 14 again. Collie knows I'm like, what's on TikTok? What's cool at HPA again? But yeah, just excited for all of you guys. And, you know, the alumni community is always here to reach out to no matter what your interests are. You know, faculty and all the staff can always connect us. So it's great to be just part of this forever. So.
Thank you so much, Angie, for joining us. I mean, we just love you so much, and we're just so grateful to have you part of our HPA family. Well, I know we went over a little bit of time here. I'm going to kick it back to Tiari, our Director of Admission, to do our final wrap up. Tiari.
All right, thank you, Ms. Melton, and thank you everybody on the panel for all of your amazing input and feedback and reflection and just your heartfelt you know, opinions of HPA. I hope that you, our guests, got a really good feeling about where you will be coming in August. We're so excited to welcome you. If anyone has any burning questions, you can feel free to unmute and just ask. I know sometimes that's hard, but you can also, of course, reach out to us at any time. We'll remind you that we have links to our student ambassador page, which we'll send to you all as a follow-up. So you're always welcome to directly reach out to our student ambassadors with specific questions, as well as we can partner you with several people in the community to get you more information. Obviously, in the coming weeks and months, we will be giving you loads of information as far as how to register for classes, what to bring, when will school start, all of those things that are burning questions. We know what they are, and we will be getting you guys all that information. Somebody wrote in, when do we pick our classes? We're discussing a plan to start that sooner than most years to see if we can get you guys loaded up with classes, you know, over the next, probably after the next month or so. We'll get you dialed in with that. So you'll get emails, so be aware of the emails coming in, as well as we'll give you your online resources in our kind of our system, our school-wide system. So we are also, like Ms. Melton said, going to be having some subsequent sessions. We're going to have a fully student-run session next week where, like she said, you can go into breakout rooms and learn about specific things. We're going to be doing live tours. We have our big school Olympics next week, so we will be going live. If you're on social media, be sure you're following us on all of the different platforms that we have. So we want to just continue to give you information and reasons to learn more. Where can we find info about these classes? So we have links to our academic pages on our website. We'll go ahead and do a follow-up email with links to some of the very specific things we think you're going to want to know, including how to learn about each of the classes. So I don't see any other questions at this time, but it was a lot in one hour and 10 minutes, and we hope you enjoyed. More to come. And thank you again for everyone on the call. Aloha, everybody.